This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
Who else could it be? For me, Dorman. Louie Tee, welcome. You are in the lab room, of course. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me on the 2016 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series. Your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names in the 2016 NFL Draft. We've moved on to the linebacker position, and it's a shame what has happened to this position because you could have had two of the first 5 selections in the NFL Draft, definitely 2 top 10 players from the linebacker position, and that's rare from the linebacker position. It's not a position that is highly touted in this league. They don't get paid a boatload of money, but they impact football games greatly. You don't need to look any further than Luke Kuechly for an example of that in the postseason run that he had this year, helping the Carolina Panthers get to Super Bowl 50. So linebackers impact the football game from the inside as well as the outside, and we could have had 2 of the top 5, definitely top 10 picks be inside linebackers. Outside linebackers, you call them what you want. I call them playmaking difference makers. And so with no Jalen Smith now as a first round pick, I still think he's a viable candidate to be selected somewhere in the 2nd, 3rd round and be a guy that can help you in the future. But if you're talking about potential first round picks, and when you're talking about one of the better athletes in the entire draft, you're probably talking about UCLA's Myles Jack. Here's a guy that is just phenomenal. When you put on the tape, you're wowed at what he does on the football field at his size, being able to do some of the things that he's asked to do. It is phenomenal, and for a guy that used to play running back to come over and make the conversion to a defensive football player and see how effortless it is and how fluid he is as an athlete, it just blows your mind sometimes at some of the things he's able to do athletically. Let's talk about Myles Jack. And while he'll probably be one of the most gifted athletes in the 2016 NFL Draft, you start with his size at 6'1", 245 pounds. Look, I've heard a number of different things on his size. He's too short. I've heard that he's a guy that has a build like a running back, low heavy, doesn't have a lot of upper body strength. I don't subscribe to any of that. This guy is a menace, and you say what you want, but 245 pounds is the new age NFL linebacker. Gone are the days of the 255, 265 pound inside linebacker. So I don't worry about all of that extra stuff. This guy's an athlete. The league is going to faster, bigger, stronger athletes. He fits that to a T, and I think he's the new age inside linebacker. Or you could put him outside. If it were up to me, I'd draft him as a 4-3 outside linebacker, stick him out as a wheel over the tight end, and say, don't let that guy catch the football, and we'll rush you off the edge or do some other creative things with you as well. But I just put him outside and say, hey man, do your thing. You know, I wouldn't even waste my time sticking him in the middle of my defense and wasting his talents. To be honest with you, if you draft him to put him inside of the 3-4 linebacking scheme, that's exactly what you're doing. You're putting, to me, a cage on a guy that needs to be free. So with that being said, let's talk about him being an athlete. Ridiculous athlete is the next pro, and I just want to go ahead and lump in the next couple of pros because to me they're all synonymous with one another. Explosive sideline to sideline range. You're talking about a ridiculous athlete. To me, this guy is a phenomenal physical specimen, and the things that he does on the football field, again, I know I've said this already and I hate to beat a dead horse, but I have to reiterate that this guy is a freak, okay? When you see some of the things that he's able to do on the football field, you don't see guys being able to do this every day. You don't wake up and be able to do this unless you can do this, okay? He's one of those guys that was blessed with the physical ability and gifts to be able to run with a wide receiver 40 yards down the field, smother a tight end, and run with a back out of the backfield, step for step, stride for stride, 30 yards down the field. That's what Myles Jack can do. He can also come down, be physical in the run game if need be. He can do all of those things, which lends itself to versatility. And I'll talk about that here in a second because that's his next pro. But in terms of sideline to sideline range, I don't think you'll find another linebacker in this draft outside of Darren Lee of Ohio State that will be able to bring that kind of athleticism and speed from white line to white line on the field. I don't think there's another linebacker outside of Darren Lee that can provide you with that kind of blazing speed, quickness, and explosiveness that Myles Jack brings to the table. He just explodes sometimes through ball carriers. There's one play where he's out in the flats, the quarterback throws the football to a running back, and Myles Jack just explodes off of the play and runs through that receiver, runs through the ball carrier, and absolutely obliterates him. And that's what you get from Myles Jack from time to time, is that explosiveness that will allow him to make some eye-popping plays. And so that sideline to sideline range, that explosiveness, him being a ridiculous athlete, lends itself to the next pro, versatility, man. This guy can play outside linebacker, inside linebacker. I've already told you my preference. Stick him outside as a will, outside linebacker, and say, look, man, you play weak side linebacker, you cover that tight end, you take the flats, you take that guy in the slot, you do all of that stuff, all of the things that other linebackers in this league struggle to do. You do that, and you do it exceptionally well. So I want you to go and do that. Be out in space where you can't be contained. Don't put him in the middle of your defense where there's a lot of trash and you're asking him to sort through bodies and you're asking him to be a little bit more disciplined in what he has to do. Put this guy outside and allow him to play in space where he is an animal. But he also can drop over the slot, play against your tight end, play against your running back if you want to flex him out, play against these athletic tight ends that get flexed out on a normal basis, like your Rob Gronkowski's, like your Jordan Reeds, like your Jimmy Grahams. All these guys that are being flexed out as receivers, Myles Jack can cover those guys one-on-one. And of course, you want to put a little small, shifty receiver in the slot, man, Myles Jack can cover those guys as well. So he's so versatile. He gives you a number of different options as to what you can do with him. He's a chess piece. When you put him on the field, he can do a number of things and fill a number of roles for you in your defensive scheme. He plays running back, and that's another pro. And not just because he can do that, you know, I don't think anybody's going to draft this guy and put him at running back. But just knowing that he played running back and that he can play running back if you needed him to is great, because it shows that athleticism that I talked about, him being a ridiculous athlete. Well, that kind of lends itself to being a ridiculous athlete. Knowing that this guy can play running back at a high level, but also play linebacker at an equally, if not better, level than the running back position, just lets you know what kind of an athlete you're dealing with here in Myles Jack. Insane in coverage. To me, this is one of the biggest pros for me in terms of what you're getting out of Myles Jack. Yeah, he's an extraordinary athlete. Yes, he can roam sideline to sideline. Yes, he can come down and drop the hammer in the box, although he hadn't shown that until probably a little bit last year, even though his time was limited last year in his number of games played. But the thing that, to me, separates him from just about every other linebacker in this draft is his coverage ability. I mean, when you look at him on tape, in coverage, this dude looks like a covered corner, okay? He'll come up, he's here, great technique, he's backpedaling, he's driving on the football. I mean, he's making plays, inside arm, outside arm, on the defender to make sure if you miss on the swipe, you still got an arm on him. Great technique. He's 7 yards off, he's 5 yards off, he's playing, he's shading guys. I mean, this is next level stuff. This is stuff that safeties and corners do, and a linebacker is doing this and making it look easy. It's effortless because he's such a phenomenal athlete, because he's an extraordinary, gifted athlete. These are the things that you can do with him that you can't do with any other player at the linebacker position in this entire draft. And really, this is a rare guy. I mean, you're not getting one of these guys each and every single year, or every 2 years, every 3 years. How many linebackers have you seen that can just play over the slot as if they're a defensive back? Not many. And so you're getting what a lot of teams like to do with these hybrid safety slash linebacker guys that come out of the draft as safeties, end up moving a linebacker like a Mark Barron and like the kid out of Arizona that plays for the Arizona Cardinals coming out of Washington State, Dion Buchanan. You're getting that now where guys come out of college as safeties but have the coverage skills of a safety but drop down as linebackers, and that's the new age NFL now where smaller guys, faster guys can play inside the box and also drop over the slot. So you're getting that here in Myles Jack, except he's actually a linebacker. So it's a little bit different. He's not 220 pounds like Dion Buchanan, okay? He's not 205 pounds, 215 pounds, 220 pounds, 225 pounds like a Shaq Thompson. This guy's 245 pounds and he's doing all of those things that those lighter guys are doing that you expect from them because they're such small linebackers. This is a big, physical, strong, athletic linebacker that are doing things that 225, 220 pound linebackers are doing. So he's a gifted athlete. Plays with physicality. I've already kind of told you that this guy is a physical specimen. He runs through ball carriers. Sometimes I like to see him come under control a little bit more, but look, that's just Myles Jack. It's what you get. It's a part of the package. The guy is physical. He's looking to tear somebody's head off. Sometimes I just want you to make the tackle, okay? I don't want you coming to rip somebody's head off at maximum speed, because at the next level, guys are very adept at making guys who run at maximum speed to tear their heads off miss, okay? And sometimes all it takes is just a jump cut or just a hop step, and all of a sudden a guy coming 90 miles an hour is ole! And he's missing, and that guy's picking up an extra 7, 10, 15, 20 yards after making the defender miss. But he plays with a level of physicality, and the next pro is he plays with aggression. He's an aggressive football player. Aggressive from snap to snap. He's everywhere. He's looking to be aggressive. He's looking to hit somebody. He's looking to get in a play. He's an aggressive football player. Sometimes he's over-aggressive, and that can be to his detriment. But again, give me the guy that's aggressive. Give me the guy that plays with physicality. Give me the guy that's giving me maximum effort, and I'll take it every day of the week because I can fix that, okay? I can't fix mentality. I can't fix a guy that's not giving me effort on every snap. What I can fix is over-aggression. What I can fix is a guy that wants to freelance. I can fix that. I can't fix a guy that doesn't want to. And Myles Jack wants to, so I'll take that guy every single day of the week. Cons, he's a bit of a freelancer. And when you're this athletically gifted and when you're a freak on the field, you get away with some things that other guys just can't dream about getting away with, okay? It's as simple as that. I think about, as a Redskins fan, I think about LeVar Arrington once upon a time. When he got into the league, he was so athletically gifted, he would freelance and do some things where you're like, LeVar, what the hell are you doing? That was your man out of the backfield. Oh, he just got a pick. Because he freelanced, he wasn't supposed to be there, but he was, and because he was there, he just got a pick. Yeah, that's what an elite athlete can do. He can get away with some things that he probably shouldn't, but because he's such a great athlete, he will be allowed to get. But again, at this next level, sometimes there's something to be said about just doing your job. And Bill Belichick loves to say, just do your job. Don't do anybody else's job. Don't do anything we didn't ask you to do. Do exactly what we asked you to do. And so if Myles Jack can be a little bit more contained and a little bit more disciplined in what is ever called inside of the defensive scheme, he'll be fine. But right now, he's a bit of a freelancer, loves to do his thing off on the side. And you'll see that on tape from time to time where he's supposed to be dropping in a specific zone and he'll get nosy, see a guy coming out of it. His eyes will get a little wary, okay? And he'll start being nosy, and he's one of those shiny object guys. You put a shiny object in his face and he's got ADD or ADHD is the technical term now, okay? He's a shiny object guy. You're like, ooh, what's that? You know, he's supposed to be looking here. You take that shiny object and put it here, and now all of a sudden, eyes are over there. And now, instead of him dropping into his zone here, he's out here with a guy that has no business being out there attacking that that wide receiver or that tight end or that running back. He's supposed to be here. He's out there. He's just got to make sure he's a little bit more disciplined at the next level. I'd love to see him be more instinctual, but a wise man once told me once upon a time, the linebacker position, when you're looking at collegiate players trying to make that transition to the next level, is probably the hardest position to evaluate because you don't know what that player is being taught to do. maybe they tell that player, hey, I don't want you going off of first movement. It may be play action fake. Stay at home, identify run first, and then attack. Identify pass and drop into your zone. Whatever the case may be, do not go off of first movement, because if you take one faulty step, you could be out of place. So you don't know what these guys are being taught to do, but I know I saw more instinct out of a guy like Reggie Ragland than I did Myles Jack. So that's something I would like to see him play with a little bit more of, instincts. But hey, look, can't have it all. And again, if I'm a coach at the next level, I'm looking at Myles Jack as an outside linebacker, not an inside linebacker. I want him in a 4-3 defense. I want him to be a weak side linebacker, out over the tight end, out on the weak side of the play, making plays, tracking players down from the backside. I want him to use that athleticism and not be getting blocked and not being on the strong side of plays. So that's just me. He had a meniscus tear. We all know about the injury he suffered early on in the collegiate season in 15 that kept him out of the combine, and he's going to be able to participate in Euclid's Pro Day. I would still take it easy if I was him, though. I mean, you don't want to come this far to then do something to re-aggravate any injuries, especially that meniscus tear. I wouldn't. They said he's a full go now and that he can go out and do everything at full throttle. I wouldn't ramp it up to 100% yet. If I'm Myles Jack, I'd work my way in. I wouldn't do everything. I may not run a 40. You still may not get that out of me. You know, I may go out there and do some of the other things, but you may not get me doing a whole bunch of agility drills and having to stop and cut on a dime and all of those things. You know, you gotta make sure that you don't put yourself in jeopardy of being another Jalen Smith, because your draft stock is never going to be any higher than what it is right now if you're Myles Jack, and you don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. And so we know about the meniscus tear that saw him miss a great majority of the 2015 season. And so as a team, you have to be wary of that. I'm pretty sure they probed him at the combine medically. If he checked out there, which I haven't heard any reports that he didn't, that shouldn't be something that worries you, because again, science, modern science is so great these days that guys getting injured and tearing things up, these guys are coming back stronger, faster than ever, it seems like, with these injuries nowadays. It just needs to be certain ones. Like, you tear ACL, you'll be back. You know, you don't want to tear. I mean, you tear an Achilles, you'll be back. You know, you rehab it correctly, you'll be back. You know, you just want to stay away from some of those, gruesome injuries where you're tearing multiple ligaments, LCLs, MCLs, PCLs, ACLs all at once. When you smash your knee up pretty bad, that's when you start getting into, man, is this guy going to ever be the same, like we're dealing with Jalen Smith right now. So that's Myles Jack in a nutshell, though. The guy's a physical specimen. Wouldn't surprise me if he comes off the board in the top 5. He's definitely coming off the board in the top 10, and because he's that kind of an athlete, he's a once in a every 5 to 7 year type of athlete. If you're talking about the linebacker position, I mean, maybe the last time we've seen an athlete like this was maybe C.J. Mosley, and I don't even think C.J. Mosley is remotely close to what Myles Jack is as an athlete. So this is a big time game changer for you right here at the linebacker position. In Myles Jack, we'll see where he comes off the board in 2016 in the NFL draft. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. Of course, I got more linebackers to break down. We'll come back and do it. See you next time.
There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie Tee, be sure to follow me on Twitter at In The Lab Room, or you can like the Facebook page at In The Lab Room. That's In The Lab Room on Facebook and at In The Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.